What? Okay, Kim, I'm ready. Can you see my screen?
Irina, yes, I can. I have started with the recording as well.
Okay, thank you. Right, welcome everybody. Welcome to all the educators, the facilitators, all the learners. We are here for you today, especially. I really hope that you are going to find this session fruitful. I want you to take part. If there's anything that you don't understand, stop me, ask some questions, post it on the chat, and there will be somebody that's attending to that. And I really want it to be an interactive session so that we can all learn from this. All right. I'm starting with the supplementary exam of 2021, and we're doing the general question, integrated question. Now, I just want to say something about the integrated question first. Normally, if you don't have enough time, we find it when we mark grade 12 papers. We see that you didn't attempt, or some learners didn't attempt anything in question 7. Now, question 7 is actually a wonderful question because it's got so many things that can give you some marks. So when you do your 10-minute reading time, please take some time and go through question 7 and select the questions that you know that you can get the marks for. All right. So, and then when you do, and you do struggle with another question, rather do this question 7. There's always something that you can do. So I really want to encourage you to not leave question 7 for the last question, but go through, when you do your 10 minutes reading time, go through question 7 and see if there's anything that you can do. Right. So is everybody ready? I hope all the learners got a question paper in front of them. I'm not going to share the question paper and the question I'm going to do. I'm going to do it all in one so that you can see it properly. Right, so we're going to start with question 7.
Afternoon, Rina. Sorry, I started with the IT.
No problem, sir.
If I may just say a few words, Rina.
100%, Mr. Ali.
Okay, thank you. I still see people that are joining in the meeting. Welcome to the teachers and the learners and the subject advisors. I hope it's going to be an interactive session. The aim of this training, obviously, is to prepare you for the practical paper 1 for the June examination. We have very competent people. Yesterday we had Tanya Pretorius doing an excellent job. Today it's going to be Rina. Serena is going to take you through the papers. So please, it's very important that you gain the information, ask questions, let it be an interactive session so that you can gain maximum knowledge. The aim of this training is for the learners to benefit. So I'm happy that the teachers are there sacrificing their time for you learners and broadcasting this Teams meeting on the school's computer. So we really appreciate your time and effort, teachers. But learners, make the most of it. Ms. Serena is going to take you through this question 7 general. I'm sure you will gain knowledge, and she's going to show you how to obtain marks, what to do. Try it on your computers. I'm sure your computers are on. Try it on your computers. Ask Ms. Serena as many questions as you want to. So enjoy the session. We have a session tomorrow, we have a session on Thursday, and we have a session on Friday. Rina, I will be leaving the meeting because I got a teacher development meeting for our training. So good luck to you guys. I'm sure Kim is in the meeting. She'll assist. I see Adan is there. Morgan Grant is there. So I'm sure that you guys will assist Rina. Tanya Pretorius is here. I see Tanya Pretorius got a GP email address already. So please, guys, it's important that you assist Serena and we take it forward. Thank you very much. Over to you, Rina.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. All right, we started with question 7, the general question. And if there's somebody that just came in, I was just saying that question 7 is really an important part of the question paper. And there's so many questions because it's an integrated question. It's not only testing a specific application, but it's doing Word. There's Excel questions. There's access questions. So there's a lot of questions that you can benefit from and gain some extra marks. So like I said, when you do your 10-minute reading time, go through question 7 and mark those questions that you know you can answer. Don't leave it for last and try to obtain those marks. Right. I'm sure all the learners are ready now. We're going to start with 7.1. Now, 7.1 is a mail merge question. I'm going to explain to you the mail merge in this question, and I'll also give you some tips on other mail merges that you can get. This is actually this one is the first time that we have this kind of a mail merge. So it's also good to see different kinds of mail merge, but the steps are always the same. All right, so let's read the question. The managing director requested a directory table that contains the names of some prestige sponsors. Open the 7 distribute word processing document. Learners, I want you to open the 7 distribute word processing documents along and enter your examination number. We're not going to do that part now. And then I'm going to read through the question and then we'll start. Create a mail merge as follows. And then they give you a note here. Select the directory option when you start the mail merge. And also which document you must link to, where you must edit, and where your fields must be. All right, so this is the question. Let's go to the document. Right, teachers, just see if all the learners got this document open. It's a 7 distribute document. All right, we're going to work on mailings. So you click here on this tab, mailings, and then we start with start mail merge. Now in the question paper, it told you select the directory option. Now we are used to letters. There was a question paper previously that's got an email message. Sometimes there's envelopes, there's labels, but this is the first time in a question paper that we got this one, where you have to choose a directory. So in your start mail merge, click on directory. Right, nothing is going to happen in the document, but that's a selection that you made. Then they give us a 7 prospect spreadsheet is the data source. So the next step in the mail merge is select the recipients. So click on the down arrow. They gave you the list, so you're going to use an existing list. It will normally be this one, use an existing list. So you click on that. You go to wherever your data folder is that you're working on. You're working the 2021 supplementary, and the file that they said we must link to is the 7 prospects. It's an Excel document. Now remember, you can get an Excel document. You can also have an Access database as a source. You can have a Word document, a Word table. You can have a text file. So there's a lot of options. The moment you see what file they're giving you to link with.
Sorry, Rina. The students are just asking
I
if you
wonder.
can just move a little bit slower. If you can perhaps just repeat it again.
100%, I'll do that. Sorry about that. In my head, I'm doing.
Thank you, Rina.
Right, 100%. Sorry about that. Right, so we click on mailings. That is where we're going to get this. And then we click on Start Mail Merge. There's a down arrow next to Start Mail Merge. And in the question paper, they told you to select the directory option, right? So we click there on directory. Hope you all found that. And then the next step, select recipients. Select recipients, use an existing list. It's normally an existing list that they give you a data source. And like I said, the data source can be anything. The data source can be your can be an Access document, a Word document, a Word table, a text file. Go to your folder and select, in this case, we select the 7 prospects document. It's an Excel worksheet. Double click on it. And in this, you'll see the different sheets. Now, in this case, there's only one sheet, so it's easy. You're just going to click on OK. But sometimes they give you different sheets, or in an Access database, they will give you different options here. You just make the selection on whichever one. They will never not tell you which one to select, right? So in this case, click on OK. Right, is everybody up to date and up to there? And then the next step, those 3 lies next to each other, and then you click on Edit Recipient List. Edit Recipient List. Now, in the question paper, it says here, edit the data source recipient list to include only the data of those members who have a yes prestige status. Right, let's first do that one. So in your recipient list, now this one is right to the right hand side of the table. Just make sure you can see that. We work in prestige in this one here. Hope you can all see that. Next to that, there's a down arrow. So click on the down arrow, and they said only include the yes prestige. So we click there on yes. Right. So we cancelled out all the others. And then they also give another one and contributed an amount greater than or equal to 800. And this is the column just next to it on the left-hand side. Again, there's a down arrow. And here's all the amounts. Now, this list is quite short, so it's easy if you can select it there. But it's better to go to the advanced block where you can make your selection there. So in amount bedrag, you go to advanced. We already selected the yes in prestige. Now we're selecting amount. And remember, in the question paper, it says contributed an amount greater than or equal to. So we select greater than or equal to this one here. And you type in 800. 800. So these are 2 edits. We've got prestige, yes, and amount greater than or equal to 800. And OK. Nothing is going to happen at this stage. You'll see here we've only got a list of 5 and then OK again. Right.
Sorry, Rina.
Yes, Kim?
Tanya, sorry, they just
Oh,
asked
sorry,
if you
Tanya.
if you could repeat that particular step for now. They
Okay.
had some technical issues, and if you could slow down a bit, thank you.
Okay, 100%. I'll do that. Sorry about that again. To me, it feels like I'm speaking very slowly, and I'm sure it's not going through that way. So I'm sorry about that. Right.
I
So,
think Rina, I think this
Mr.
is the
Ali?
last time we must do it because we can't keep repeating this section when people are starting late. Otherwise, we're not going to finish the 2 questions. So I think we'll go slowly. We'll repeat it the second time. And then I think, Rina, you must move on because then it would be very difficult for you to complete both the questions. But I think you're doing an excellent job. Thank you, Rina.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Right. So
Mr.
we're going.
Ali, Rina, I just want to remind you guys that I have started with the recording so the children and the educators can also just go through the videos. So I will send it to you as facilitators by the end of the session today.
Thank you, Kim. We're going to the third one here. We're going to do the edit again. We already selected the 7 prospect spreadsheet as the data source. Now we click on edit. Right. If you go to the right, here's prestige. There's a down arrow, and they said we must only select yes in the prestige status. So in there, you'll only select yes. To the left-hand side of that specific one, there's amount. In the amount, they said only amounts greater than or equal to 800. So again, on the down arrow, go to advanced. In the advanced section, we already did the prestige. Now we're going to select amount, select greater than or equal to, and type in 800. Then it's okay. And when you select, you'll see there's only 5 names in there now, and click on OK again. Nothing happened at this stage yet. Right. In the third bullet, it says enter the merge field surname in the first cell of the table. Now this is the first cell of the table, so click in there. And now we're going to jump a couple of steps here, and we go to insert merge field. Down arrow, click on surname, the first option in the first cell there. If you click on it, you'll see it's a field. So the field of the 7 prospects is linked with this document. In the next block, it says enter the merge field name in the second cell of the table. Again, insert merge field, click on name, and there's your fields. Right. Now, the moment you've set in your fields at this stage here, you must save this document. It's important to save after you've entered or inserted your merge fields, then you have to save. So you click on save. And then we jump to the last step, finish and merge. The question says, complete the merge and save the document as 7 directory, and yes. So we click on finish and merge. Edit individual document, the first option there. Click on all. We already made the edit, the selection list there, and okay. And there you'll see. And there you'll see all the 5 names that we've selected in that list will appear here. And this is a directory. It's going to give it to you in a list form, and that is a directory. Now this document needs to be saved, right? So we click on File, Save As. Go to your folder where your exam folders are, and enter the name. They say 7 directory is the new name. So click on 7 directory and save. Right, and that is the mail merge. Is there any questions on the mail merge?
Rina, Randfontein just asked a question.
Yes.
Is it necessary to use the drop-down arrow, or can we just use the filter button to do all the edits one time?
No, you can't use the filter options. Remember, a filter, this is specifically said that edit the data source recipient list to include only the data. A filter, what a filter normal sometimes does, and I hope I'm correct here, is that when you save it and you go back, the filter is no longer on the next document. So rather use the edit, and I think you'll be sorted then. Hope it answered the question. Anything else?
No, I
Right.
think you can go on. Thanks.
Thank you. Right, and at this stage, you can close both your questions, both your papers, both your documents, sorry. All right, then we're going on. Educators, just see that your learners open 7 reorder spreadsheets. So we're going to work in the 7 reorder spreadsheet now. 7 reorder spreadsheet, and they say we work in the subtotal question, subtotal. Now, a subtotal, remember, is not a function or a formula. A subtotal is a feature. I normally explain it to my learners. It's something like a word sum to me, all right? So in a subtotal, don't try to type in a formula or a function. It's a feature that is built into Excel that you can use. Now, in this case, as you can see, here's already a subtotal is already being done in this situation, or in this case, yeah, right? So the questions say, I can just open the question paper. Work in the subtotal worksheet. The subtotal feature displays the total amount donated per category. If we look at this, how can we see what happened here? Here's my category column, and just below all the births assist, it gives you a births assist total. And then the same, in your donated amount, it will give you the amount of the total there. If you put your mouse on it, you can see there, subtotal 9 G2 to G15. Right. So this was the function that was created by the feature, by the Excel feature. You don't have to know what is a 9 or a 3 or a 1. When you use it correctly, it will automatically give you the function there. All right. So this was done. Now they need us to change it. And the question says, yeah, change the subtotal feature to determine the number of countries in each category. So we're still working in the category column, right? So because they say per category. Now remember, when we do a subtotal, the column that you're working with must always be sorted. I think in the next question, there's also a subtotal. So I'm going to say a bit more on that. Because this one was done, it's difficult to show you the sorting now. So I'm not going to do the sorting now if it's not sorted. But yes, so they want us to change the subtotal feature. When you do a subtotal, you select everything, including the headings. Don't only select the content. Select the headings up to row 110 and the content, the headings and the content, right? Educators, just make sure that your learner selected the correct range there. The headings must be included. Click on data. That's the one where the subtotal, you'll find the subtotal. And then there is subtotal on the right-hand side on my computer, subtotal. Click on subtotal. And there's the whole subtotal thing. And yeah, it's just important that you know where to click what. They say determine the number of countries in each category at each change in. So we need to click on category here on top. So on the down arrow there, click on category. Category, that's the first one. And now they say the number of countries. Now, if I look at the countries, this is not an amount. So remember, you can't use a function like a sum or a max or a min on a country. This is text. It's a word. So the only function that you can use is the count function. So you click on count, use function count. We're going to count how many countries are there per category. And then at the bottom part here, you click on country, take off the tick next to the denoted amount. That was where the previous one was. So just take off the tick there. So I'll go through this again. You'll have category, count, country, land in this bottom part here. And then OK. Right. And now what happened here? We still worked in category. So you'll find here births assist count. And the answer now is in country because we worked on the country column here. The subtotal 3D2 to D15. And you'll find it below every category. And at the bottom, you'll also find the count, the grand count for all the countries in this document. And that is the subtotal question. I know there might be some questions on the subtotal. I hope I went slowly enough for you to work with me with this one. I'm going to carry on with the next question. In the prelim paper, the last paper that we're going to do, there's also a subtotal. So I will rather take questions on the subtotal with that one, if it's all right with you. Right. We're still working in this document. Remember, always when you've done something, remember to save. So at this stage, make sure that you save. We're living in a country where load shedding is part of our lives. So remember to save this document before you continue. All right, the next question, 7.3. You continue working in the 7 reorder spreadsheet, so keep it open. And we work in the stock worksheet. And now they ask for use an appropriate lookup function in cell D4 to determine the minimum number of items that should be in stock using the data in the order worksheet, right? So it's a lookup function and we work for the lookup, we're working in the order worksheet. And then they also say ensure that the correct results will display if the function were to be copied to the other cells. Right, so we click on stock, make sure that you are in the stock worksheet now, learners. Stock worksheet, right.
Rina?
Yes?
There's a request in the chat if you could just slow down a little bit. You're going a little bit too fast for the learners to keep pace with you as you are working.
Thank you, Grant. I'll keep that in mind. Right. Is everybody in the stock worksheet at the moment? Educators, just please just make sure that we're in the stock worksheet. Right. So they say we're going to do a lookup function. And the lookup function, the lookup table is in order. So if we click in order, what do we see here? This lookup table is vertical. So we will use the VLOOKUP in this case. How do you know when it will be something else? How do you know when it's a HLOOKUP? I just want to show you. If your lookup table was like this, then it's in rows and not in columns. And in this case here, you'll use the HLOOKUP. It's exactly the same as the VLOOKUP, but you'll use the HLOOKUP. Why? It's a horizontal lookup table. So always remember, go and check before you start with the lookup. You're not always sure if it's going to be a VLOOKUP or a HLOOKUP. Go to your table and see, is it vertical or is it horizontal? I hope you understand what I'm saying there. Right, so go back to stock. We go back to stock, right? We're working in D4. So you can put your mouse in D4. Now for the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP and the lookup, I normally use the insert function. I found that this is the one that I understand the best. And so I'm going to use this method. At the end, I will also show you what it looks like here if you're not working with the insert function. All right. So you click on insert function. In this block here, you'll see there is the VLOOKUP. Now, I've used it a lot of times, so mine is there already. If you can't find the VLOOKUP here, type VLOOKUP here on top, search for a function, just type in VLOOKUP and click on Go. And then you will find your VLOOKUP in this block here. Right, learners, you can do that quickly. Just type in VLOOKUP. If it's not in your options here, click on Go, and then you'll see VLOOKUP here at the bottom. V is vertical lookup. Now double click on the VLOOKUP. Your first lookup value is the value that you're looking for that's also in your order. Now in order, they gave us the items. So this is the same one here. So your items will be your lookup value. So in lookup value, you click on bandages in this example. So that is B4. It says here stock. Stock is just the worksheet name. I'm going to take it out. So it's B4. The table array is your lookup table. So you click on order. Here is the table array. Select, you can select, don't select row 1 and 2. This is, you don't select row 1 and 2. Only you can select the headings, items and minimum number, and the content up to water purifying tablets. That's the part that you can select, or you can only select this part here. It will give the same results. It doesn't matter. Right? So make your selection, learners. Now, in your table array, this is something that you can learn and remember. I always taught my learners that the moment that you do the table array, your hand must go automatically to the F4 for your absolute cell referencing. So when you did the table array, please select immediately the F4 so that your table array becomes absolute cell referencing. Remember, we're going to autofill, or they said that if the function is copied down, you must make sure that it will still work. What's going to happen if you copy down a range? The whole range is going to move down, and later on there will be no content in that part there. So please press your F4 in the table array for that mark, and that's important. You must always do this. The moment you do your table array, press F4. The moment you do your table array, press F4. Please remember that. What are we looking for? Here's my table array. We got this part here, the items. We're looking for the minimum number. So we've got 1, we're looking for 2. So your column index number is the second column. So in column index number, you type in a 2. Your range lookup, it's an exact match. So it's a false. I will explain the difference between a true and a false just now. So in your range lookup, you'll type in false. So it's B4, your table array, remember your F4, number 2, false. And then you can just click on OK. Right. All the learners with me here, then just click on OK. Now I'm going to, for those of you that, no, I don't know how to use the insert function. There's the VLOOKUP function complete. If you want to type it in, it depends on what your educator taught you or how you use that. But I've always find for the VLOOKUP and the HLOOKUP and some if and some ifs and those things, I normally use the insert function. Right. The difference between a false and a true. When it is false, it's an exact match. So if you look at the example here, bandages, this is the quantity in stock. Bottled water, this is the quantity in stock. So there's nothing else in between. But let me give you an example. If I'm using, if I'm achieving 70% for cat, my symbol is a B. If the girl sitting next to me is getting a 71, she's also got a B. 72 is a B, 73 is a B, etc. So from 70 to 79, you get a B symbol. From 80 to 100, you get an A symbol. From 60 to 69, etc. So the moment there's intervals where there's more than one value to a certain thing, then it is a true. So remember this example is only a false, but when you use a true, when you use intervals, then you must put in there a true. Right. Is there any questions on the VLOOKUP? I know there's somebody doing Excel tomorrow, and I'm sure there will be extra questions there, but if it's connecting to this question, if there's any questions on the VLOOKUP, can ask me now.
Yes, Rina, there's a few students that asked if you can please just slow down and maybe, I think, just repeat the VLOOKUP, because we all know VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and the nested if, is a very difficult question. I don't know if you want to quickly just maybe, if there's a possibility, just repeat this one and just slow down a bit with it, that they can grasp it.
Okay, 100%. No problem. Right. I'm in stock. I'm just going to delete my VLOOKUP for now. I hope you understand what I said about a VLOOKUP and a HLOOKUP. This will be a VLOOKUP. This will be a HLOOKUP. Right. So you're going to insert function, double click on VLOOKUP there. If you don't have it there, type it in here, click on go, double click on VLOOKUP. Your lookup value in this case is bandages. That's what's given, B4. Your table array, if you click on table array, is in the order worksheet, and you make a selection, the headings and the content, or just the content, doesn't matter. This is the selection, the table array. And then remember, immediately press F4, absolute cell referencing on the table array. The column index number, we're looking for the second column. We're looking for the minimum number. We got bandages. We're looking for this one here. So it's the second column. It will never be the first column. It is the second column. So it's a 2. And your range lookup is false. False, because it is a exact match. You can look here at the bottom, true or omitted, find an exact match is false. The closest match, then it's true. The closest match is when there's intervals. A false is when there's an exact match. And then just click on OK. Right, and there's the VLOOKUP function. If you want to, if you typed it out, it's exactly the same. right, any other questions there, Kim?
Sorry, Rina, I'm chatting away here and no, no, Rina, everything is fine.
All right, thank you. I think there's still one more question. Right. The next question, 7.3.2. Now, learners, this one I will really do my best to do slow. This is a level 4 question. It's a difficult question. I'm going to read through it and then I'll do it step by step. And yes, work in the order worksheet. Use an if function. Remember this part. They tell you to use an if function in cell C5 to display the quantity of the stock item that must be reordered. And then they give you example how it must display. The reorder quantity is the number of items that must be ordered if the number of items in stock is less than the minimum of items required. And then the result, they tell you how to do the result. You must display the quantity required, followed by a space, followed by the name of the item. Right, so let's first do this part. Reorder quantity is the number of items that must be ordered if the number of items in stock is less than the minimum of items required. We're working in the order worksheet. Educators, just make sure that all your learners are in the order worksheet. Don't be in the wrong worksheet here. Right. Just want to move this part here. Okay. Now, learners, in this question, you can see they made provision for building blocks. I want to tell you today, building blocks are your friend. Building blocks are your friend. Educators, let the learners say that to you now. Building blocks are my friend. Right, I hope I can hear you and I hope you said that. Whenever you come to a difficult question, I'm going to break it up for you by using the building blocks today. Right, I will also do the complete one later for those learners that know how to do that. But I want to encourage you to use building blocks. The reason why I'm saying that is if your teacher is a matric marker, she will tell you or he will tell you as well. You get the marks where you attempted something in the building blocks. Even if you only do one small part, you can get 1 or 2 marks. Like, for instance, when they give you text functions for left and right and those things, and you know a left, but you don't know the right function or you don't know the mid function, always use your building blocks for part of the function. And then you can obtain the marks for that. That's some easy marks to get. So please remember that. Don't just do anything in there. It must be in connection. But yes, use your building blocks. Building blocks are your friend. All right. They want us, let me explain it to you, the question. They want to know, when you subtract this amount, this is the minimum number of items. When you subtract in your stock worksheet, when you subtract, we're working with bottled water, so we work with C5. When you subtract this 8,000, this 117,672 from 800,000, if there's a difference, then that is what you must reorder. So I'm going to break this by first doing the subtraction in here, in my building block. So in E5, click in E5, the equal sign, we want to subtract the stock available from the minimum number. So you click on B5. In this case here, I just want to make my screen bigger so that you can see. Equals, click on B5. B5 minus put your minus sign, and then you go to stock and you click on C5. This is the quantity in stock. Click on C5 and then you can just press enter, enter. And there's the amount. So what did we do here? B5 minus the stock. Stock is the worksheet name, C5. C5 in the stock worksheet, right? And that is the answer. You can also autofill this part here for yourself, just to see what's going on. So in here, you'll see there's a couple of negative amounts. I will get to that now, but this is the part. Now, in the total function, for this part here, if you only understood this part, you can get 1 or 2 marks for this function already, even if you don't do anything else. So please, learners, use your building blocks. So that is the first part. Right. The second bullet, they say, display the result of the function with the quantity required. This is the one that we worked out, followed by a space, followed by the name of the item. Now, when you hear something like that, you know it's a concatenate function. We have to concatenate things. So I'm going to use my building block again. And I'm specifically using the building blocks for you to understand how to do this. I'll do the complete function again as well. All right. So in this one, we're going to do the concatenate. They say concatenate the quantity required. So it is E5. Click on E5, comma, a space. How do you indicate a space? Your quotation marks, space, quotation mark. That's the space, comma, followed by the name of the item. The name of the item in this case is bottled water. So it's A5, A5. So in here we have concatenate E5, comma, the space, comma, A5, and close your bracket. You all have that function, concatenate E5 space A5 divided by commas. Right, and there it gives you that the total amount you need to order and bottled water. Right. Now let's get back to the question. So remember, we can autofill this part as well. Remember, what was the question? They said, use an if function in C5. So we did all the preparations here. All the preparations was done there. But we need to do the if function in C5. That was the instruction. Right, so we're going to combine this two with the if function. Let's start with that. If, just want to make it bigger for you. If, we already got this one here. If E5 is greater than 0. Why do I say it must be greater than 0? If there's a minus here, we're not going to order anything. We're only going to order if it's greater than 0. Doesn't matter what the amount is. If it's greater than 0, we're going to order. Right, so if E5 is greater than 0, comma, this is the test. Remember, how does the if work? How does the if work? You test, and then you get a value if it's true. The value, if it's true, is the concatenate that we did there. So you click on F5. So if E5 is greater than 0, F5, comma, and now what then? What is the value if it's false? Now, a lot of times in the paper, in this spreadsheet itself, you can see, if you look at the examples here, where's the empty spaces? The empty spaces is where there's a negative amount. So what must be my negative value? You can't just leave it open or type in nothing or a 0. It gives you an example here. It shows you what they want. They want an empty space. So if the value is not greater than 0, it must be an empty space. An empty space in an if function is indicated by 2 quotation marks. By 2 quotation marks. And there is the function. Going to leave it there for a couple of seconds. If E5 is greater than 0, then F5 or an empty space.
Sorry, ma'am, can you please slow down?
I will. All right, I'll leave it like this again. I'll tell you what we did. In cell E5, we took B5 minus the stock in C5. B5 minus the stock in C5. That's to determine how many bottled waters do you still need to order. The instruction was, if you need to order something, you must display it like this. You must display it with the number you're going to order, plus a space, plus the item. So this is concatenate. E5, there's my space, A5. If I'm going to do the autofill here, let's see if it's going to work. There's that one, exactly the same. There's that one, exactly the same. And there's my open or my empty space. Where's the empty spaces? It's where there's a negative amount. So if you autofill, there's the remainder of it. They didn't ask you to autofill, I'm just showing it to you. Yes. And that is the if function. So we did use the if function here. We used the concatenate. We used everything in there. Is there any questions up to here? Any questions?
Ma'am,
Yes.
may you please explain what the concatenate function does?
Okay, sure. A concatenate function is where they normally tell you to put a couple of words or functions or something together. So concatenate is actually like putting something together. So you put together E5. This is, for example, a space, and A5. That is a concatenate function. Concatenate. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. I'm going to, I just want to check the time.
There's about an hour left, Rina. I don't know
Okay.
how far you with, are you done with the 2021?
Yeah. This paper is finished. The other ones only got 3 questions. I just want to show you to just type it in, or do you think I must stick to this? I mustn't do it, the function together, the whole function in one cell. Is it necessary to do that?
Ma'am, can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, there's also a comment, Rina, maybe to ask if you can just show it again.
Yeah, the if function. There was, can you
Yeah.
please show the if function again? So I think, like we said, Rina, the VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, and the if,
I
the nested
know.
if are the questions that the children struggle with the most. So I think
Absolutely.
if you can maybe just, you know, like slowly in detail with explanation, meat to the bone, explain why the with the if function and so forth, then maybe this will help. I think that would, the children will benefit from it.
Okay, no problem at all, Kim. Kim, am I going very fast?
No, I don't think you're going fast.
Okay.
I think, but maybe for the children that are struggling with
Understand.
this questions, they're trying to maybe write and do it.
I understand.
Yeah, so I think do the if function. I don't know, Tanya, if you agree with me, then if you say the other question paper only has 3 papers, there are 3 questions, then, we can always go back again. We still have an hour left.
Okay, no problem at all. All right. So I'll do the if function, this part again. I'm going to delete it here. Right. So the question was to do an if function in C5. All right. We already did part of the if function here. We already determined how many stock they must order. B5 minus stock C5. Hope you understood this one here. And then I explained the concatenate part here. Right now we must determine with the if function whether it must be a number with the item next to it or whether it must be an empty cell. How did we know it must be an empty cell? By looking at the example in the question. There was an empty cell. And if I look at my stock that I need to order, there's a negative amount there. Here's an empty cell, negative amount. So all the empty spaces must be where there's negative amounts. So if I do my if function equals if, and then I click on E5, we already did the whole function in there where we subtracted the 2. If E5 is greater than 0, if E5 is greater than 0. Now, if function, this is the test. We do a test. We test if E5 is greater than 0. Then we put a comma. First, after the comma, you get the value if this is true. In other words, if E5 is greater than 0, what do you want to display? The concatenate function that we did, the bottled water, and the number of items that you must order. So that will be F5. So this is, if it's true, it must display how many bottled waters or how many drips or what must you order. Comma. This part here, if the value is false, what must display? In this example, sometimes they give you a word. There must be a word, top and or high and low, or yes and no, or false and true. So the first one will always be the value that if it's true, and after the comma, that is the value if it is false. In this case, it must be an empty cell. So an empty cell in Excel, we indicate it like this, 2 quotation marks. You can also put a space in there, doesn't matter. It will give you an empty cell. And that is the if function. If E5 is greater than 0, then it's F5, otherwise an empty cell. Enter. And then when you autofill this, you'll see everywhere where it's not greater than 0, there's the empty cell. And when it's true, if it's greater than 0, it will display the number that you ordered with the item next to it. Right. Is that fine? Any other questions on the if function for now? I just want to invite you tomorrow. It's going to be the Excel explanation. And I'm sure if you're struggling with the if function, please, tomorrow there will be somebody that will help you with that as well. Right, educators, can we move on to the next paper?
I don't see
Team.
any questions, Rina, so I think you can move to the next question paper. Thank you.
Okay.
While you are changing, Rina, I just want to remind all the educators to please sign the attendance register. So educators, please, you will see on the chat, I've posted it quite a few times. Please complete the attendance register. If you struggle, let me know, because we need to see who attended and who hasn't attended. So please make sure that you complete the attendance register.
Right, we're moving over to the prelim paper, prelim 2021.
Rina, sorry, there's one question here.
Yes.
This Rita Bile asked,
Mhm.
can we use nested if in this question?
Yes, you can. You can use a nested if in that question as well. I'm also going to, there's a nested if, quite a huge nested if that we're going to do in the next question paper. If it's all right with you, then I'll rather finish with that paper now, and then I'll do another nested if in the prelim paper. Will that be all right? Okay. Right. I remember yesterday there was some learners, some educators that didn't have the passwords. I just want to share the passwords quickly. Just want to share the password of the prelim paper. If there's anybody still struggling with the passwords, here's the passwords of that specific prelim paper. If you can maybe quickly just take a photo. If you haven't got the passwords, please take a photo. I'm going to close it now. If you can't open your prelim paper. Right. Gonna carry on. Okay. So we're working in the paper, in the prelim paper, and the file that you have to open is 7 Prof budget spreadsheet. So educators, make sure that the learners open this spreadsheet, please. We're working in this one. Now, in this question 7, all the questions is Excel. All the questions in this general question or this integrated question is in Excel. So you can see that Excel is an important part of the whole question paper. Sometimes in your general question, there's word questions, there might be access questions. There was even sometime a HTML question in question 7 on the spreadsheet. Open the 7 Prof budget spreadsheet, work in the chart worksheet, and then they give you a chart, create a graph or a chart to appear as follows. Then they give you the chart here, and at the bottom there's only one note: fill the Limpopo data bar with any pattern. They don't give you any questions or tell you what to do. So you only have to look at this paper, and you must start from the top. I normally work from the top, left side, right side to this side to make sure that your graph or your chart looks exactly the same. Right. To create a chart, you select all the data. Please select all the data for the chart. And now remember, chart is easy marks. It is something that you can create. You know how to format a chart. Sometimes there's only 1 or 2 things that you don't know what to do, but please always try to attempt the chart. You'll see if you look at previous papers, a chart normally counts 6 marks, 5, 6, 7 marks. There's a lot of things that you do on that chart for marks. So please attempt your charts and get those marks for that. All right. Have you all selected the data range that you need? Then you click on Insert. Insert. Go to your chart. You'll see it here. There's a down arrow, insert chart, and then look at the examples. Look at the example in your paper. This is the one, the 2D bar. You need to use to create a 2D bar in this example. Right. So there's your 2D bar. Your chart is created. So remember, even if you only did this and you use the correct option here, you get some marks for this already. So let's start at the top. Yes, the chart title. The title is province budget. So in that space there, your chart title, province budget, can just type it in there, province budget. So there's another mark. You've created your chart, you use the correct chart type, and you typed your chart title. Let's move to the left-hand side. This part here mustn't display. So if you click on Western Cape, Northern Cape, you'll see it make a selection around all those names. Just press delete on your keyboard. There's another mark. Just obtained another mark. Easy marks. Go to the bottom part, right? This part mustn't be there. Click on it. Press delete on your computer. We're nearly there. Right, another mark that you obtained for this question. So there's your chart title. You deleted the vertical export and the horizontal one as well. If you look at the example, you can see there's some data labels that is on the chart. Charts, we did charts in grade 10. So, and we practiced that a lot. And we didn't necessarily practice it after that. So go to some old previous papers and go and practice a couple of charts, because it's marks that you can obtain. To get the data labels, you'll see there's a plus sign on the right-hand side of the chart. Click on the plus sign. There's my data labels. And then if you click on the arrow next to data labels. Sorry. And then data labels. And then at the bottom, it says more options. So on the plus sign, put your mouse on data labels and then more options. Right? I'll change the, I see it, put it on the center. I'll change that now. But what do they want? They want the value. Here's the value and the category name. So they want Western Cape and the value, for instance, in that example. So category name and value must be selected there. Right, it's there. You can close it again. And then the data labels, just make sure it must be on the, where is it? The inside end. Inside end. Why is it like this? Right, just make it a bit bigger. Sure. When I practiced this, it was on the out. Isn't there a data label? Center, inside base, inside end. Is this a correct one? Inside end. I don't know, how does yours display? Is it on the outside? I don't see the option here. Right. I want to go back to more options. Here's the separator. If you click on the separator, just click there on new line as well. Must be on a new line. So Western Cape and the values must be below each other. That's a new one. Right. Now I must tell you, I'm this one on the data labels here. Inside end. It's not in, it must be an outside end. I don't have the option here. Do you? People are supposed to have an outside end. I'm sorry about this. I practiced it and it worked correctly there. There's an
Sorry.
outside end. Yes.
Rina, just try more options again
More options.
and then scroll down a bit. If you try that inside end,
It's the same one, yeah.
okay, and there's no outside option.
Yeah, there's no outside option in my option. But I know when I did it on my other computer, it worked fine. So learners, I'm sorry about this. I'm sure, can anybody indicate to me if you have an outside end there? It must be on this side here. Can anybody just indicate if you find it? Okay, right. But that is how you put in your data labels. Your data labels, I'm sure you know how to put in your data labels. Right. Now the next part, if you look at the example, there's a trend line. So again, if you click on your plus sign, you click on your plus sign, and now my trend line is gone as well. I don't know what happened here. Okay, please go to your trend line. There must be a trend line here. Just try all the options. And then you just select the option where you can find your trend line that's looking like the example. Now, this is technology. Something went wrong with my things. When I practiced this a while ago, everything was in order. And I'm sorry about this, learners.
No, I think it's just the, it seems like on the comments, they are saying it's fine on their side, Rina. It's the office.
Okay.
I'm sure it's just the office pro.
Thank you so much. Thank you for saying that. Now I feel better. Right. As long as you understand. Right, learners, is there any questions on this particular graph? Remember, if you need to practice, please go and practice your charts. Take some question papers and only do the chart part, because there's you can obtain a lot of marks with a chart. Oh, and the last one here, and I hope this one will be all right. It says here, fill the Limpopo data bar with any pattern. So if you click on Limpopo, it's going to select all the bars, and then just click on Limpopo again, right? You can click right, format, data point, click on fill, that's the first option, fill, there's my pattern fill, and they say, in this case, any pattern, right? So you can use any pattern for that selection, any pattern. And that is the chart. Right, so any questions on the chart? All happy with this one? Okay. Then we go on to the next question. And learners, yeah, I want you to pay attention. I know it's been nearly 1.5 hours. You're tired. If you can quickly stand up and stretch your legs, say hi to your friend. I'll give you 1 minute just to get your bearings together, because this question is going to need all your attention. All your attention. Right, I'll give you a minute.
Rina,
Yes.
there's just 2 people that asked, can you please repeat the last part? And then also something about, we are struggling to open the question papers, password provided are incorrect. The English paper. I don't know if you, while they're stretching and everything, but can you maybe show the password for the English paper and then repeat the last part for the data labels?
Okay, 100%. Okay. There wasn't different English and Afrikaans passwords. I also got an English one that I opened with the password. So if you can look at this one again, make sure you typed it in correctly. If you don't type it in correctly, it won't work. Like I said, I opened mine with this passwords, and this is the English paper as well. Just try it again, educators, if you can assist there, please. Okay.
They are sorted, Rina. We can
Okay.
continue.
Thank you. Right, let's go back to the graph and to ask about the data labels. Now, for one or other reason, and I'm telling you, I did this yesterday and I practiced an hour before today's lesson, again, went through all the questions and everything worked perfectly well. And now suddenly it doesn't want to work. So I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to tell you what it will look like. So for the data labels, click on the plus sign next to the chart. Put your mouse on data labels, and there should be an outside end. Then you click on that one to give it that is outside end. Next to the data labels, on that one at the bottom, it gives you more options. Go to more options. If you look at the example, what do they want to display? Western Cape, that is the category name. So you need to click on category name here. And they want the values. So you need to click on your values there. So value and category name must be ticked in this example here. Right, and then it will display like this. If I can go back, data labels, more options, select those two, and at the separator, you click on new line. It is, I think, as a matter of fact, it is in a new line, both of them, but you select new line here, and that is the data labels. And then the next part there, here will be an option. Make sure that you see that as well. And then just make the selection for that, for the extra line there. I'm sorry about that. Okay. Are you all happy with the filling of this bar? Click on it. Make sure you are only on Limpopo. Fill pattern, and they said that you can fill with any pattern. So you can click on any pattern color there. Any pattern color. Okay. Right. So we're going to continue with 7.2. 7.2. Work in airports. And I'm going to do 2 examples for you. I'm really going to try to take it slow and talk slowly. And yes, this is a difficult question. This is also a level 4 question. So please stay with me, try it with me, and see if you can get this thing to work. All right. Now the question paper. The province where an airline is located appears in column A, and the budget appears in column D. Right? We've got the province. Here's my province column, and there's the budget column. Now for this, only for this option, and we're not going to use column B and C. I'm just going to hide it. You don't have to. I'm just going to hide it so that we can have province and budget next to each other. We're working in the province and the budget. Right. Insert a combination of functions in column E to display the following. Top if an airline is located in Gauteng and the budget is more than 2 million. Top, Gauteng, more than 2 million. Normal, if an airline is not in Gauteng, but the budget is more than 2 million. Not Gauteng, but still more than 2 million. Average, if the budget is not more than 2 million, but the airline is in Gauteng. So we've got both Gauteng and more than 2 million for top. We've got normal only if the budget is more than 2 million, but not in Gauteng, and average not more than 2 million, but in Gauteng. And then an empty cell if all conditions are false. Remember an empty cell? We did that in the previous one. An empty cell is with your quotation marks, double quotation marks. Right, so this is the question, and it's 6 marks. Right. I want you to type this with me and stay with me as I explain this one to you. Right, we're going to start. Now, if I see something, I think you will agree with me. If you see something where there's conditions, then we use a if. And in this case, I'm going to use a nested if. I'm also going to do a bit later after this one, I'll use another one with an and to explain an and to you as well. But for now, we're only going to use the if function. Equals if. So what is our first test that we must do? If an airline is located in Gauteng and it is more than 2 million. So let's test that for first. If D2 is greater than 2 million, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That is the first test, but there's another condition. So we're not going to give the value if it's true or false now. We're going to put in the other test as well. What is the other test? The other test is if A2 is equals Gauteng. Remember, if you type a word, you have to put it in your quotation marks. So this is our test, right? This is the test. We tested if D2 is greater than 2 million, comma, if A2 equals Gauteng. Now we must put in the value if it's true. The value if it's true is top. It's a word. Remember to put it in your quotation marks. Comma. This is the value if it's true. If it's false, let's go to the next one. The next option there says normal if an airline is not in Gauteng, but the budget is more than 2 million. So if it's false, we're going to put in here for now, normal. Normal. And we close the brackets. So remember, how does the if work? It's going to test for 2 million here. If it's not 2 million, it's going to move to the value to the normal, if it's normal. If A2, if both conditions is true, it will be top. All right? So that is our false, and this is true. Okay. Just make sure that you get this part done so far. Going to give you a minute. If you're not with me, just type this over. I want yours to work. When we're done with this question, I want yours to work as well. Right. So remember, when we use D2 is greater than 2 million. If it's not greater than 2 million, then it will be normal. So this value, D2 greater than 2 million, will happen if it's not greater than, then it will go to normal. Gauteng, right? And this must be for top, must be true for top. Okay, so we're going to carry on to the next one.
Versus 2 million.
Rina,
Yes.
there's a request that you can, if you can just please repeat it again.
Okay, sure. Right, so I'm just going to repeat this, sorry. If D2 is greater than 2 million and if A2 equals Gauteng, then it will be top, right? If it's greater than 2 million, if it's not greater than Gauteng or equals to Gauteng, then this part will happen. Then it will be normal, right? If you look at the second part, it says, if an airline is not in Gauteng, but the budget is more than 2 million. Remember, this 2 million, if it's greater than, it will, and Gauteng it's not in Gauteng, then the second option will happen. Hope you understand what I said there. All right, let's put a comma. Now we're going to the last option. If now we're only going to test for Gauteng. Only going to test for Gauteng. So if A2 equals Gauteng, then what is the answer? What is the test? If it's true, it is average. Comma, if none of those conditions are true, then it must be an empty cell. Must be an empty cell. Right, so let's go through this again. We've tested both greater than 2 million and Gauteng, then it displays top. If it's not greater than 2 million, then it will be average. Right, so this one jumped to this one for a false. If it's not in Gauteng, it will be normal. If it's not in Gauteng, but it is greater than 2 million, it will be normal. And then the last test, this if function automatically jumps to average. If it's not more than 2 million, average will display, but it must be equal to Gauteng. Okay, just take some time, type in this formula quickly or write it down for yourselves. We're going to test it now, and I'm also going to do another one for you. Right, let's look at the answer here. I just need another one there. So it's an empty cell in this case. Just want to autofill. And there it is. Now, if you look at this example, let's look at the example, what we did. This part here is not greater than Gauteng, it's not Gauteng, and it's not greater than, so it's an empty cell. The next one, what was normal? Normal says if it's not in Gauteng, but the budget is more than 2 million. So the budget is more than 2 million and it's not in Gauteng. That's why it is normal, right? So we've got an empty cell We've got normal. Let's go to see if there's a top. What is top? Top is if it is Gauteng and it is greater than 2 million. Right, and then average. Let's see if there's an average. Yes, an average. Average is when it is in Gauteng and it's not greater than 2 million. Right, there's the function again. Learners, this one, I know this one is a tricky one. It's difficult to understand. The best thing to do this is to go and practice, go and practice, go and practice. Practice a couple of nested ifs for you to understand when is the value true, when is the value false. And an if in a if normally goes from one false to the next one. So it's difficult. You must grasp this for yourself. Okay, I'm going to do another one. I'll do it in column F just to show you, because they said it can be a combination of functions. So I'm going to do another one for you as well. So we also use the if, but with this one, I'm going to use an and. Now, just to explain to you what is an and function, if you use an and function, and you put in two values that must be true, the answer will be true. If it's not true, it will be false. That's if you only need and. But now we're going to combine it with the if. All right, so if and. What is the first option? Our first option is that the budget must be greater than 2 million, comma, and A2 must be equal to Gauteng. And close the bracket. Right, this is our first test. But now, what is the value if it's true? We already said that. If it's true, the value is top.
Rina,
Yes.
I just want to quickly, there's a question regarding this.
Yes.
And maybe Tanya can also assist you. They say, since there's no space provided for building blocks, would learners lose marks if they use building blocks? I can answer regarding that by saying, no, you will not. But maybe if Tanya can just come in and then let us just say, how will we indicate, how can the students indicate if they have used building blocks? Tanya?
Okay, yes, thank you, Kim. Actually, yeah, we should provided a space there for the building blocks. But I do think if they use the building blocks on the side, it would be best to use it aligned with the same row as, for example, you are in row 2 now, and you just be outside of the actual data. So maybe 1 or 2 columns outside of the data and in the same row, so that it's easy to identify maybe. But yeah, actually it was supposed to be at least highlighted or shaded for you. But I do think it would be best to keep it as close as possible to the data, but not in the data to disturb any information.
Right. Thank you, Tanya. I agree with her there. In Excel, you can definitely use building blocks if it's provided or not. I know in the past, sometimes learners will make the text, the font color, they will make it a white color or something so that they don't see it. I don't know for what reason, but as long as I can see that you did something in another cell, and like Tanya said, in the same row or in that vicinity, then you will get the marks for that. So yes, you can use your building blocks. And like we said in the previous question, building blocks are your friend. All right. So let's continue with this one.
Just
So
hold on quickly. Sorry, Katlego, your hand was up. Do you want to ask a question quickly before we move on? Katlego? Okay, you may proceed, Rina. Thank you.
Okay. So we tested both of this. If both are is correct or true, then it is top. Now we're going to the next one. If, remember what is different, what is the next one saying? If the budget is more than 2 million. So if D2 is greater than 2 million. is greater than 2 million, then it will be normal. That's the next one. It will be normal. Comma, and then the last one, if A2 equals Gauteng, what is the option then? It will be average. If nothing of this is true, it is an empty space. Empty space. So we've tested for both. We've tested in the second one, if it's more than 2 million. And in the last one, it says, if it is in Gauteng, but not 2 million, then it is average. Right, I'll give you a minute just to type this in or to write it down. If and D2 is greater than 2 million, A2 equals Gauteng, then it's stop. If D2 is greater than 2 million, normal. If A2 equals Gauteng, then it's average. Right. Let's also autofill this one to see if it's correct. And it's exactly the same. Normal top, your average, and empty spaces. And that is your nested if. Like I say, a nested if, educators, please take old papers, take previous papers, and just give them a couple of nested ifs to do, just for them to grasp it. It's a difficult question. It's a level 4 question. It's difficult to understand. Myself, when I did this, I had to do it a couple of times and call in some reinforcements as well, just to grasp it myself. It's a difficult question. So please, let's spend some time, especially with your high flyers, maybe, to get a nested if sorted out. I've only got 15 minutes, so I'm going to go to 7.3. At the end, if there's any questions on the nested if, Kim, can I go on with the last question? Or must I wait for some questions on the nested if?
No, I think you can go on, Rina. Then if there are questions, then we always have enough time to go back.
Okay, 100%. And like I say, educators, please give your learners old papers. Just take out the nested if questions, take out your VLOOKUP questions and let them practice and practice this. This is the only way how you can understand this. Right. Then the last question for today. Work in the province total worksheet. Use a spreadsheet feature. Remember when you see this, we had this in question 1 as well, paper 1 as well, to calculate the average budget costs for each province. Right, we work in province in this worksheet now, and they say we must work out the average budget cost in each province. Now, I just want to give you a tip here, learners. The one that you're working with, the one that they say for each province, for each airport name, for each grade or whatever there is, this column must always be sorted. In this case, the examiner was nice to you, it's sorted, so you don't have to do this. All right, I'm just going to quickly, we did sorting in grade 10. I'm just going to show you how to do a sort. Remember, when you sort, you don't select the headings. You only select your content. We must work per province. So you go to data, sort by province, in this case, A to Z. So it's already sorted, but this is where you sort. Remember, for a subtotal, your province in this case must be sorted. The one where it says for each province, for each something, it must be sorted. Right. Then we do this, the subtotal feature. Then you select the headings as well. You select everything here. Your headings, and the content. Select everything, click on data.
Rina,
Yes.
sorry, they're just asking you to just go a little bit slow and maybe repeat it again, please, so that they can go through it with you.
Okay, no problem. Okay, it's already sorted. So I'm not going to show the sorting again, but remember it must be sorted. When you do work for each province, province must be sorted. For the subtotal, you select the headings and the content. Educators, please help there. Make sure they've selected the headings and the content. Okay. Then you click on data, data, subtotal. Remember this block, we had it in the previous question as well. The top part here is the one that is sorted, right? For each province. So the top part here, you're going to select province. And that is the reason why we selected the headings as well. If we didn't select the headings, then it wouldn't have been airport, province, and budget. You couldn't see the headings. So here you select province. They ask for the average budget. So in sum, there where it is sum, select average. And it is average budget cost must be on budget. It is there at this stage. So it's province, average budget. All the learners with me. Educators, please see province, average budget, and okay. And remember, this is a feature. It's not a function. You're not going to type in anything. It's actually so easy if you know and understand this part. And how do we check and see what we did? In your province, it will show you Eastern Cape's average of the budget. In budget, it's the subtotal 1, C2 to C15. In this one, Free State, there's that average. And at the bottom, you'll see Western Cape average and then the grand average as well. I hope I did this slowly enough. And that is for 3 marks. And as you can see, in these 2 questions, there was in both the papers a subtotal. And we, as educators, sometimes neglect to fully explain the subtotal because it's only in the grade 11 syllabus. We do it that once, and then the learners in grade 12, they get a subtotal, and then they didn't practice or did revision on this again. So don't forget about this feature. Any questions on the subtotal? Right, that was my papers. Thank you so much, everybody, for working with me. I really hope that you learned some things. You're welcome to post some questions. We've got 8 more minutes. If there's any questions, I hope you all completed the register. Kim, if there's no other questions, I'm giving over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Rina. Okay, here's a question already from V Koza. Please repeat the subtotal, Rina.
Okay, I'm going to do the subtotal again. Just going to go back to my original one. Right. So in your province total, in province, remember a subtotal is a feature. It's not a function that you have to type anywhere. When you do the subtotal, you select your headings and all the content. Select your headings and all the content up to 137. Click on data, subtotal. And you work the whole thing in this block. The question says the average budget cost for each province. Each province must be the top one that you select. So in there, you click on province. Use this function. There's all the options. It's a budget, an average budget. So you click on average by the function, and it is the average for budget. Can't be average of airport or province. It's words, it's text. So it can only be in budget. And then click on OK. So province, average, budget, OK. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you, Rina. Improve College is asking, please repeat question 11.4.
I'm sorry, I don't have a 11.4. I've got 7.1, 2, and 3. And in the previous one, it was also 7.1.
Yeah, I see that as well. Henry, please just make sure that you have the right question. If you can just in the chat box, just retype. There is 1.4 is word. It's not the integrated question.
Ma'am, sorry, can you please repeat 7.2?
All right. You want 7.2. We've got 5 minutes. I'm not going to type it over. I'm just going to click on it and explain to you. Will that be all right?
That should be fine. Thank you so much.
Right. So I'm going to go to my first example. Oh, sorry. Just want to make it a bit bigger. All right. So let's look at this example. So when you read the question, the first test that we must do is for top, right? The test that we do for top to display is D2 greater than 2 million and A2 equals to Gauteng? So that was the question there. Then it will display top, right? If it's false, it will go to normal, right? And that was the second bullet. So it will be normal. The last bullet was average if the budget is not more than 2 million, but the airline is in Gauteng. So we test for that one again. If A2 equals Gauteng, then it must be average. If nothing of any of these conditions are true, it will display an empty space. And that is that part there. If I go to the second one, where I used a different option, used an and. First option, and again, the first test. If the and there, I inserted the and because it's 2 options that must be tested. If D2 is greater than 2 million and A2 equals Gauteng, it gives me top. Both the conditions must be true. If D2 is greater than 2 million, it says they're normal if an airline is not in Gauteng. Remember, we already tested for Gauteng. If it's not in Gauteng, it will move. This is still part. This part here is still part of the testing of Gauteng. So if it's not in Gauteng, it will move to average. So if D2 is greater than 2 million, it is normal. If A2 equals Gauteng, it is average or an empty space. I hope it helped.
Thank you, Rina. I don't see any other questions. Educators, please remember to complete the attendance register. I really do hope that this was a fruitful session to everyone. Rina, thank you once again. I saw a few comments. Teachers from my district said, wow, they are well informed, and we really want to appreciate and thank you for this. And then I also want to thank Tanya and Grant for assisting you in the chats with everything. You think that you've got it until there's 190 people on and the questions and accepting and so forth. So thanks for that, guys. I just want to remind you guys that tomorrow, please, tomorrow we're going to do Excel. Rina, is it Natasha? It's most Natasha that's going to present
No.
tomorrow.
No, tomorrow is Fatini.
Oh,
And
Futini.
yes, Fatini Agricultures, and on Thursday is Erin for the HTML.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, we look forward to that. Thank you, ladies and gents. It is past. If you have no other questions, you completed the attendance register, you may be excused. Thank you. Thank you, Rina.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Grant and Tanya, actually, if you guys can just help me make let the people leave, please, I would appreciate it. That we
Okay, there's a
can.
question from someone, maybe, Kim.
Oh, okay, okay.
Quickly saw or something. Do they want to say something? I don't know.
Moyu, I see your hand is up. Moyu, if
Yes,
you
I can't
yes.
sign the register.
Moyu, can you quickly send me your email address that I can email it to you
Yes, I
in the
think,
chat?
yes, let me send it on the chat.
Yes.
Do you not
If
see
you
the link on the chat?
can you not see the link on the chat there?
Yes, I can't see the link on the chat. I think the chat is muted. Muted.
Can you still not see the chat, the messages that are coming?
There are no messages. It actually tells me that the meeting chat is muted.
Oh, yeah, then he can't access it, so maybe email it to him, Kim.
Okay. Moyo, will you be able to send me your email address?
Yes, I did that on the chat.
I don't see anything here on the chat, the email address. If you can maybe just send it.
It's a KOHL.
KOHL, yes.
MOYO
MOYO, yes.
@gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Okay, I'll send it to you quickly.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Bye.
Then there's a question from, I don't know, Sart. Who's that? SAAD, yes. Okay, not anymore.
Tanya, ek gaan bo begin as jy onder begin, dan
Ek is onder.
Okay.
Awesome.
Bye.
Okay.
Hi julle, sien is net ons 3 oor.
Yes, maar hier's nog 'n kerel. Ek sukkel met die kerel.
Skus. Is dit
Nee.
Karel, Karel de
Karel.
Wet.
Sorry.
Nee, kom is hulle nog op nie?
Ja,
ek
maar
sien julle nie aan
ek
my kant nie.
maar ek kry nie vir Karel af nie. Ek sukkel om hierdie persoon af te
Ek
kry.
ook, ja.
Ek gaan net gou die recording stop. Laat ek net gou, kom ons begin net daarby.